Hi, my name is Alana. I'm a knitwear designer and a yarn shop owner living in Auckland, New Zealand. Welcome to my podcast, Thank You for Knitting. This is episode number 5, and it's been a little more than 2 weeks, and I'm trying to come to do the podcast about every 2 weeks. I was away in Australia for about a week and a half, so I didn't actually knit while I was there at all. I knit a little bit on the plane there and back, and I've done a little before I left and since arriving. So I don't actually have a ton to show today, but I still wanted to come because I wanted to say hi. And I do have a couple of finished things I'd like to show, which I am very excited about. So today might be a little bit of a shorter episode, but I'm going to show you a couple of finished things, basically two-ish, you could call it 3-ish finished things. I'm going to give a little update on the whips that I've made some progress on, and mention a little bit about the knit-along that we're in the middle of, the Nibbles Knitalong, and also talk about my Frogger finish, and yeah, a little bit of plans coming up in the next month or so. So that is the plan for today. And the first finished thing that I want to show you is what I'm wearing. So I'm very excited about this t-shirt. I started this back in June, so it has been a very, very long-term project. And part of that is because, like I've said before, I'm always doing a lot of things at one time, and there was no urgency to get this one done. I started it in the middle of winter, and now that it is summer, I wanted to finish it, so I kind of bumped it up the priority list and then finished it November 26th. So yeah, long-term project, but I was really keen to start wearing it because the weather has gotten very warm here and muggy. So this t-shirt is called Knus Light by Elsebeth Judith, and I knit this in BC Garn Tussah Tweed, which is a 100% silk yarn, and I absolutely love everything about this project. This yarn is incredibly nice. So BC Garn Tussah Tweed, as I say, it's 100% silk. It's a fingering weight or 4-ply. It's definitely, I would say, on the lighter side of fingering weight. And it's pure silk, and it's that tussah silk, which is like raw silk. So if you've knit with silk yarns before, you might be familiar with mulberry silk as well, which is that more shiny, slinky, more delicate silk. That's what we see most commonly in like merino silk blends. And it's, as I say, yeah, a bit more of a delicate feel and very shiny. Tussah silk, raw silk, is I would say more matte and less slinky. It's still very soft, don't get me wrong, like it's very soft to wear against your skin, but I would say it's a bit more hardy or sturdy. I don't know, I can't find the right word, but it reminds me a little bit more of like a linen yarn. Like it feels very strong. It feels like it'll last forever. It feels like you can wash it and wear it and wash it and wear it, and it'll just go really well over time. And it has a bit more of like a matte finish as opposed to a glossy finish, which I really like. I love linen. I like a more matte finish and a sort of a rustic look. So that being said, it's very soft, but it is, yeah, it's 100% silk. It's got these like tweedy sort of flecks in it. It's just a really beautiful yarn, super lightweight, and the finished fabric that you end up with is so lightweight, and it's got a nice drape to it. But I mean, yeah, it almost feels like it doesn't put any weight on your body. It's so light. So on a really hot summer's day, it's perfect. So I really love the yarn. I love how the colors look because they're all sort of tweedy. So there's all these flecks of different colors. I'll see if I can show you a little bit closer maybe. I'm not sure if you can see, but this particular color has like orange and red and these kind of aqua tweedy colors. So I love a yarn like this where when you look up close, it has quite a variety of color, but then when you zoom out, it still gives a more cohesive professional finish. It's definitely not in your face, but I really like this color. This is shade number 9. I don't remember the name, but maybe I'll put it on the screen. It's definitely going to be in my Ravelry project page. I think it's called Rust Aqua Mix, maybe. And I used exactly 3 skeins of that yarn for this project. I just used up almost every last bit of my 3 skeins, and I'm not sure, I've probably said this before, but I don't always follow the instructions for the body length of a garment. I just wanted to use up the 3 skeins that I had, and I wanted to just make it a length that I liked. But I will try to measure from the underarm to the hem and put it on my Ravelry project page. That way, if you're interested in making this, you can get a better idea of what you can achieve out of 3 skeins of Tussah Tweed. So I'll put that on my Ravelry project page. And yeah, I'm just really, really pleased with this t-shirt. I've realized that most of my summer t-shirts are in DK weight yarn, and that kind of surprised me because I like 4-ply yarn. I like thinner yarns. I've made full sweaters out of thinner yarns, but I think what it is that most of the summery blend yarns that we've had available to us here in New Zealand, and the yarns that our suppliers have offered and the ones that we've been able to carry at the shop have been more DK weight. Like the Erica Knight Studio linen is a DK weight, and that's one of my favorite summer yarns. So I realized that most of my summer shirts are DK weight, which is lovely as well, especially when it's linen. I feel like it still has a nice drape and it's not too heavy. I think sometimes when you have thicker 100% cotton yarns, they can get a bit heavier than I would like, but it's really nice to have a lighter, a light fingering weight t-shirt. The drape and the lightness is just honestly incredible. I definitely would make more garments out of this yarn. I would make this pattern again. Part of what I love about this pattern is a lot of the t-shirts that have textured yokes have a lot of lace and holes in the design, so they're just more see-through up here. And this one has a bunch of really beautiful texture, but it's pretty solid. It's not really see-through. So I like that. And yeah, it's a relatively basic knit still in terms of style. I don't think it's a super crazy design, but that little bit of texture definitely gives it an interesting look. So yeah, can't say enough good things about this. Love the pattern, love the yarn, love the color. Yeah, I definitely want to make more garments with this yarn, especially now that it's summer. I knit the 3rd size. I used the recommended needle, which is a 3.5 for the main body and a 3mm for the ribbing. And the only major modification that I did was I did make a higher neckline. So the original neckline, it's a bit more of a scoop style neck, I would say, and it has a little bit of a curled edge, which is actually really pretty, but for me, I wanted a higher neck. So at the end, I just picked up stitches around the cast on edge. I just picked up the same number that I had cast on, but I used my smaller needle, my 3mm needle, and then I knit 1x1 rib for about 1 inch, I think, and then just bound off, normal bind off. And that's all I did, and it just kind of pulled everything up, and now it's perfect for me. So I'm very happy with that modification that I did. Otherwise, I just wanted to use up my 3 skeins, so I finished my sleeves first. Before finishing the body, I also did that rib to neck, and then I was able to just knit the bottom hem almost until I ran out of yarn to use up those 3 skeins. So yeah, I am very happy with this project. So this is the label of the yarn, Tussah Tweed, and as I say, this is color 009, 250 meters per 50 grams. So basically I used 750 meters for this shirt, and I just had this little bit left over, which you can see. I might actually show you the yarn just so you can see it more up close. It's so beautiful. I'll go grab a skein because I'm at the shop. Okay, so I just grabbed a skein of the yarn to show you in the color that I used. So the label's upside down, but this is how it is in the skein. They've started selling it now in these like spools on these kind of like cardboard cones, I guess, which is nice too because then you don't have to wind it up. But this is the color that I used more up close. So I think it's really, really pretty. I mean, yeah, there's just so much depth in the tone. So that is that. That is my t-shirt, and I could not be more thrilled with this finished object. Okay, so my next finished objects are a series of small things, small and very cute things. So as I mentioned last time, we are participating with Cinthia Vallet in the Nibbles Knitalong, which is a knit along for these really cute bunnies, which is a pattern by Cinthia, and she's primarily running the Knit-along on her Substack forum. We are primarily kind of participating just in our shop. We're kind of mostly doing it on Instagram, and we're just knitting these bunnies. A couple of us at the shop have knit them, and we've knit outfits. Several of our knit group have knit them, and we're just having a lot of fun. They're so cute. So the first finished object, these are small, but basically we recently this year got in these, because we carry Opal sock yarn, which I've talked about before. I really love Opal sock yarn. It's just super hard wearing, beautiful colors. They last forever. You know, I've got Opal socks that I've been wearing for years and washed and worn a bunch of times, and they just look as good as new. So I love Opal sock yarn, and we got in these really cute 10-gram minis. So they're just tiny, they're really sweet, and I wanted to knit a tiny little jumper or dress really that used almost the whole thing, just to see kind of what you could get out of one of these little minis. And so I made this tiny little dress. Super cute. So this particular opal was a bit of like a gradient. They're all random and different. I do think this was more or less the same color as this. And I just made this up as I went. I didn't have a pattern. I just cast on. I used a 2.25 millimeter needle just because I had one on hand. And I cast on at the neck. I increased. I did a little bit of like a lacy detail at the neck. And then I just made it up as I went to try to make a little tiny dress. So that's my tiny opal dress. It is currently hanging on this little hanger. And we bought the cutest little thing for the shop because we're in Christmas. We're doing like all these cute Christmas mini things to decorate our window. We're doing our bunnies. So we're just really in mini land right now. And we bought online the cutest little clothing rack with these tiny hangers. And so we have quite a collection of little sweaters that we've made in years past. These are old ones I've made years ago. And there's a couple of new ones, which I think Veebs has made here at the shop. Really, really cute. And yeah, so those are part of our window display. We've just changed up our new window display to include a bunch of really small things. We're still working on it, but it's going to be really, really cute. I'll show it when we finish, but that's that little clothing rack with our little minis. So yeah, that opal dress, I knit it on November 12th. I finished on November 13th. I mean, you know, it's very fast. And that's just for the window display, so that's it. That's technically an FO. Another one that's technically an FO, but I'll probably end up lumping it into the same project for all the window display stuff, is just this tiny sock. So again, we're kind of creating for the front window. We bought this old dollhouse and we're knitting a bunch of mini things, and we also wound up a bunch of micro skeins to put on the little shelves of this dollhouse. It's not really a total dollhouse. It's more of a series of shelves, but in the shape of a house. You'll see, I'll put a photo in. And we are creating all these mini things. And so I basically just cut out of a piece of cardboard like a mini sock blocker that sort of replicates the sock blockers that we sell here at the shop. And then I knit this tiny sock to go on it for part of our display. And I think it's very cute. Again, I just made this up as I went. I knit it in one evening. I used a 2 millimeter needle. I think I just had that on hand from the bunny. And I'm so pleased with it. I will show you the yarn I used because it was the perfect yarn for this situation. I had dyed years ago this self-striping yarn, which is not in sort of the wide stripes you normally get on self-striping sock yarn, but it was sort of micro stripes. So I thought it was perfect for the tiny sock because you still get the striping effect. So this just looks like that. And as I said, I just dyed this myself a long time ago. When I dye my own self-striping, I only do it for fun. I would never do it to sell because it takes forever. Because I hand wind the skein into a giant skein that I basically just like go in the garage at my house and unwind into a really large skein, then tie it at different sections, and then I sort of dye it in sections. So you just end up with like these stripes. So that's the yarn. And that is the mini sock. So pretty cute. And yeah, I'm planning on doing a few more things for the window display, but that is all that I have so far. So my last two finished objects, well, I have them listed as 2 projects on Ravelry, but you could also consider it as 1. So I made the bunny for the Nibbles Knitalong, and I also made a little outfit for the bunny. That's why they're listed as 2 separate projects. So I actually am going to take the outfit off, and I'll show you the bunny first, and then I'll show you the outfit. Okay. So this is my bunny. So cute. And look at the little tail. So this was just, yeah. I've knit Cynthia's toys before. They're always so fun. They're so cute. This is the smallest one I've ever done, so it is actually really fast. It's on a 2mm needle. I cast on November 13th, and then I went to Australia on November 15th. Then, as I said, I didn't knit it all while I was there. Then when I got back, I finished in 1 or 2 days. So it is very quick. The pattern is called The Nibbles by Cinthia Vallet, and I used only 11 grams of yarn for this, so really not a lot of yarn. And I used the Brushtail 4-ply, which is a possum merino blend. So the yarn looks like this. And I've mentioned before, but I just think that the possum fur gives it the perfect amount of halo so that the animal looks like a little bit fuzzy. And then, yeah, Cynthia's patterns are written super well. I followed it exactly, no issues there. I stuffed it with 100% pure wool stuffing that I got from Spotlight years ago, a big like kg bag of it. And the only thing that I did change, and I always do this when I do my animals, is I don't use the safety eyes. I've never had safety eyes. I might try them someday, but I also like a really simple embroidered eye. So I think she has instructions in the pattern on how you can do an embroidered eye, but I don't actually do that. I do it differently. And the way that I do it is I mark the eye placement just like she recommends, which is around 1 stitch. Then I come in with a black piece of yarn and I loop around that 1 stitch, like in, out, and I just go around that same stitch, I think about 8 times usually. On the smaller bunny, I might have done 6 or 7 times, but on the bigger ones, I've done 8 times. And then I just tie it off on the inside. That's all I do. So it's just a really simple little eye. I wanted to also show you, as a quick comparison, my other bunny, because I have her here. She's been hanging out at the shop. She's a lot bigger. So this is Bunny Odile. This is the Nibbles bunny. And that's kind of the size difference. That being said, actually, my Bunny Odile ended up bigger than the pattern because I held a strand of 4-ply plus a strand of mohair silk, and I think I even went up a needle size to accommodate for the extra thickness of the mohair. And I did that because, again, I wanted that fuzzy mohair texture. That was before I had the idea to use the possum blend. So she's a little bigger than the pattern, but this is her, and this is Nibbles. I have not named my Nibbles yet, but I did the same kind of eyes on her. So it's just a simple embroidered eye. I hope that's showing up well. And she's got a really cute outfit too. She's got these jammies, which is from the pattern. I made her an Earthshades cowl, which is a mini version of one of my patterns, Earthshades cowl. So it's like a brioche spin cycle. I used the leftovers from my original one. And I made her these custom socks, which are also matching a pair of socks I made for myself in the same yarn. So she's looking pretty cute. And then her little friend, the mini bunny, has its own outfit. I might insert a photo of the outfit, just laying flat, so you can sort of see I made 3 pieces. And now I'm gonna put the outfit back on the bunny and show you. So first of all, I made this whole outfit in 1 evening. This was 2 days ago. So it was pretty quick. And there's 3 pieces in this outfit. The first piece is this beret hat, which is the original beret from the pattern that Cinthia included in the Nibbles. There's a bunch of outfits included in the pattern. The only one I did from there is the beret, but it's super cute, and it's really clever because the ears go through these little holes, and that's kind of what keeps the hat on the head. So that's really cute. And then the main outfit is this pair of like dungarees, which I just knit custom. So I just started in the middle. I kind of guessed the number of cast on stitches. I cast on 30 stitches. I used a 2.75 millimeter needle. I did a 4-ply held with a mohair, 30 stitches, a couple rounds of ribbing. Then I just did some increasing here to shape down the body. I kind of bound off some stitches and cast on to make a hole for the tail and knit down the legs. Then I came back later, picked up the top and knit that, and then did these little straps with these tiny little buttons. These tiny little buttons came from Karen, who comes to our knit night. We actually sell doll buttons here too, but Karen had a bunch, so I just used these ones from her because she had them on hand. And that's the little dungarees. And then the scarf I made looks like this. So I didn't follow the scarf pattern from the original pattern. I wanted it to look more like a Sophie scarf, like where it's pointy on the ends instead of flat. So I cast on 50 stitches, again, 2.75 millimeter needle, 4-ply and mohair, 50 stitches, and then I kind of went back and forth, and I would like go almost all the way, bind off a couple on this side, go this way, bind off a couple. I did that back and forth for a little while just to create that subtle kind of Sophie scarf shape. And I think it came out looking very sophisticated. So I think she's got a lovely little outfit on. I haven't yet given her a name, but she's just so cute. I will also make sure to insert photos. We don't have the other one here, but Katrine, who works here, also made the bunny, and Vibke, who works here, also made some outfits. She made the original little tutu dress that was in the pattern, and it's really, really cute. So I'll make sure to insert some photos. There's a photo as well of the two of them hanging out, and I will insert those so you can see. It's just been so fun. I mean, these little things, they knit really quickly. As long as you can kind of feel comfortable with DPNs or magic loop, they're not difficult. They're just little and so quick, so fun, and really, really cute. So I'm really tempted to make another bunny, at least one more bunny, but I'm also not sure because tomorrow is December 1st, and that means I've got a month left to kind of do my Frogger finish for the year. So I kind of have my mind on that as well. So I don't know if I'll make time to make another bunny. I will probably make a few more minis for our shop window display, and potentially some more outfits for the bunny as well. So we'll see. But for now, that's my little bunny. That's my Nibbles. That's part of the Knitalong. The Knitalong is still going till the end of the year, so we're going to keep participating. Like I said, a bunch of the people here at the shop and the knit group are participating. So definitely, if you're interested in this, check out the hashtag on Instagram, which is just the Nibbles KAL. I'll put it on the screen, and you can follow along with all the cute little animals that people are making. So this has been really fun. So that's that. So because tomorrow is December 1st, I want to give a little bit of an update on my Frogger finish. So I mentioned this in episode number 1, but every year I have been doing for myself a personal challenge that I just call Frogger finish. I've never made it into a knit along or anything like that. It's always just been a personal challenge. Although last year, one of my friends, Katrine, who works here, she joined me. We actually didn't do it until January because I think we were too busy in December. But this year I'm doing it again in December, which is what I normally do because I really want to finish the end of the year with a relatively blank slate. So the general idea behind Frogger finish is I'm a person who always has lots of whips going on throughout the year. The numbers go up and down, but I always have a lot of whips, and I got the idea a few years ago that I would like to end my year with a clean slate, and it is such a good feeling. And so I don't know that I've ever ended up with a 100% clean slate. I do think I've had, because I have had one project that's carried on for, I think it's in its 3rd year, but otherwise I like to have a relatively blank slate. And so the plan is every single work in progress of any kind that I have going on has to or should be either finished by December 31st or ripped out. And I will say that I love having a deadline because otherwise, if you have a languishing whip that's been there for months and months and months and you're never in the mood to finish it, I don't know about you, but it kind of, it's there in the back of my mind, not actively, but what happens is when I decide to frog it and I actually rip it out, it feels like I have freed up a little bit of mental space. That's what tells me that it was somewhere in there. And so it's a really good feeling to frog things that you know you're not interested in. And for me, it makes me feel like, okay, now I can really enjoy the projects I have, cast on new things. I don't have a bunch of old things hanging over my head. So I really have loved doing this personal challenge for myself. And this year I decided I would create a hashtag for it. Again, this is not an official knit along. This is nothing I'm going to overly organize or manage, but I wanted to create this hashtag because maybe some of you want to join me. Maybe some of you want to also take on this challenge. I know Katrine is also doing it again this year, so we'll both be working on it. And anyone who wants to join, please feel free. And the idea is just use this hashtag, and then that's a way that you can check in and see who else is doing this Frog or Finish challenge, and we can see each other's progress and each other's projects, and maybe just get a little bit of inspiration or motivation from that. So I've created the hashtag. I'll put it here. I'll be using it on my Instagram. As I said, it's not something I'm going to make a big deal about, but it's just a way for us to find each other on that platform and sort of check in and maybe get a little bit of inspiration. So that is out there. I'm doing my Frog or Finish. I wanted to give a quick status report on how things are going. So in September, when I first started this channel, I had 17 whips, and that was a lot for me. That was starting to feel a little bit stressful. And since then, I have finished quite a few things. I finished a lot of those original 17 whips, but I have also, in the intervening time, I have also cast on and bound off multiple things, as you would have seen, especially with Socktober. So let me see how many things I've actually finished since then. Wow, so I have actually finished 16, technically 16 projects since then. Now in my Ravelry, this is currently its own project page, so maybe if we lump those mini things in together, I've finished about 14 or 15 things since then. But there you go. I had 17 whips in the beginning of this channel in September. I have subsequently finished, let's call it 14 things, and I am currently left with 9 whips. So I'm feeling pretty good entering into December. I've got these 9 whips. Some of them are actually pretty close to being finished. Some of them I am making good progress on. So I feel pretty confident this year that I'm going to get pretty close to 0. I always have my Marie Wallen sweater, my primrose sweater, as like, I guess like my white whale. Is that what we're calling it? But I do have an update on that, which is that I mentioned in episode 1 that my sister and I were knitting that together, and my sister has finished. So that is motivating for me. She did send me a photo showing me all the ends she has to weave in, which is slightly overwhelming, but she did finish. And so I'm very happy for her, and I definitely want to finish as well. I tend to do the easiest thing first, which is maybe not a great habit, so that's why that one always gets put off till last. I have that Prosper yarn vest, which is probably 90% done, so I want to definitely tackle that one. It shouldn't take long. I've got 2 pairs of socks going on where I just have to knit the second sock. Those shouldn't take long either. Yeah, I feel good this year. I feel pretty good about what I think I can achieve in December. So I will quickly mention, again, I don't have new whips, but I'll quickly mention the 2 that I've picked back up again that I've made some progress on, that I've been quite active with. So the first, just briefly, is this sock. So this was a sock from back in the first video. This was my first one. This is all part of my vanilla sock pattern that I'm working on. And I finished the first one ages ago, and yeah, just wasn't in a rush to finish it. This is going to be a gift for one of my friends. And since then, since returning back from Australia, I was missing out on a plain stockinette project after I finished the body of this one. So I just cast on the second sock. So again, this should be pretty quick. It's just my plain vanilla sock recipe. It's just a stockinette foot and a ribbed cuff, and it's just my sort of easy knitting. So I think I'll get through that one pretty quickly. I've also got the other sock that I need to finish, but that shouldn't take too long. And the other whip that I picked up since getting back from Australia is actually my Alpine Bloom sweater. So I talked about this in episode number 1, and back then I was planning on frogging it, and I think the most common comment I think the project that was most commented on, maybe that's the way to say it, in that first video was this one. And so many of you said you thought it was pretty, I shouldn't frog it, I should keep going, it looks really nice. And I kind of felt the same because every time I went to frog it, I hesitated and I liked it. So since returning home from Australia, so part of why I was gonna frog it is the main color is this kind of golden mustard color. And I got it in my head that it was too pale of a color for me, but then I realized I have a t-shirt that's yellow that I wear. I like yellow. I like mustard yellow. I think I can wear it. And so, yeah, when I got home, I picked it back up again. I think I was only a couple of inches into the color work before when I showed it to you last time. And since then, I have nearly finished the whole color work yoke. It's been really addictive. So just the last couple days I've been working on it. And it's been pretty quick, and I think once I can split for sleeves, it's just short sleeves and then a relatively cropped body. So again, I don't think it will take too long, and I'm really happy I kept going with it because the yarn is looking incredible. The pattern is beautiful. So the yarn I'm using, the main yarn, is Alpaca Yarns Luxurious Fusion. I'll show you one of the tags. This is a yarn we carry at the shop. It's a beautiful summer yarn. It's mostly silk and linen. It's 4-ply, fingering weight, and then it just has 10% merino and 10% alpaca for that little bit of protein fiber. So this is the tag of that, Luxurious Fusion. The color I'm using is called Mustard 1180. I think I have four skeins of that, maybe. And the contrast color is a handspun yarn, a beautiful handspun yarn that was given to me from my friend Bonnie. So she spun it. That's how that looks. And it's just kind of changing color slowly. It's really pretty, like plummy pink kind of colors. And this is how the yoke is looking. So it's a little scrunched up on my needle, but I think I'll be able to show it fairly nicely. This is how the yoke is looking. I think it's looking so pretty. The colors are just changing slowly. I love how the handspun is kind of getting darker and darker as you go down the yoke. You've got this beautiful lacy neckline. So I am really, really pleased with how it's coming out. I love that I'm finally getting a chance to knit with this Luxurious Fusion yarn. This is one of our kind of summer yarns that we've carried for several years now, but I had never knit a garment out of it, surprisingly, until now. And yeah, I love what these colors are doing. So I'm really, really pleased with it. I'm so glad I picked it back up again. I'm using I'm using a 3.5 millimeter and a 3.25 millimeter needle. I believe those are the recommended needles. Yes, they are. And I'm knitting the second size 2. So I've made, as I said, I've made all this yoke progress in just the last couple of days, and I feel pretty confident that I can zip through the body pretty quickly once it just becomes stockinette in the mustard color. So that's a little update on that, and maybe it'll be finished next time I see you in the next video. We'll see. So I'm also planning to do a video to just show all the summer tops I've ever knit and kind of talk a little bit about them because we are in summer. So I'm thinking of some kind of like summer tops kind of inspiration video. So I will hopefully kind of put that together and gather up all my t-shirts and tops and whatever and put that into a video. So, you know, it's summer here, and I think, yeah, for a lot of the YouTube channels, they're in the Northern Hemisphere, and I'm seeing all these fall inspiration and, you know, autumnal and winter and all that warm stuff. And for us over here, we're kind of sweating. And so I think for people in this hemisphere, you might appreciate a video about summer knits. We'll see. So I am planning on doing that. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. But those are kind of the two active whips that I've got going on. Otherwise, I'm just excited to get through those old languishing whips. I want to end the year on a fresh slate, and we're also planning, we haven't really announced it yet, but we're planning to do a shawl along in the new year, and we would like to cast on January 1st. So both Katrine and I, we had done the West Knits MKAL many times, and then this past year neither of us did it, partly because it was Socktober, so we were really doing socks, and I had a lot of other whips going on. It just felt like a busy time, and I just didn't feel like I had the extra time and sort of space to sign up for something like that. So we both skipped out on that, but we also both thought that the shawl looked really beautiful at the end, and we kind of had a little bit of FOMO. So we want to have a shawl along, and we both want to tackle some large shawls by Stephen West. I've actually been wanting to make the Aurora cabin shawl for a long time. It's one of those large projects that you just put off because it feels like a big project. And I think part of why the MKALs are so fun is because you're knitting along with other people, and that keeps you motivated. So we thought if we start a shawl along with the idea of tackling these like large shawl projects, especially Stephen West's shawl patterns. It doesn't have to be his patterns. I think we're going to just make it a general shawl along, but I think we're going to have it go for 2 or 3 months so that we have a lot of time. For us, that's going to be when a lot of people are on holiday in New Zealand. People go on holiday in January, and then we're in the middle of summer, and you don't necessarily want to be knitting garments, maybe summer garments, but I think a big shawl project is also pretty fun in the summer. So we are planning that knit along, and we will announce it, you know, soon enough before it happens. But that's kind of in my mind that I'd like to cast on January 1st for the shawl along. So I would like to end December 31st with minimal whips. So yeah, that's what's happening here. Cool. All right, I think that's everything I had to talk about today. I will come again soon in another 2-ish weeks for another episode, and maybe between now and then, or at some point, I will hopefully get up a video about summer knitting, summer garments. Yeah, get that out to you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.